It's time again for another installment of The Basics, and on today's show, I want to talk about the Tribbles side deck in the Star Trek CCG. The previous episode, you saw me open a bunch of booster packs of the Tribble with Tribbles, and I'm going to go into detail on the next couple episodes about aspects of that expansion, the first being the Tribbles side deck. So let's get started, shall we? So, the Tribble side deck came about, obviously, in the Tribble with Tribbles expansions. It brought out new card types in the booster packs, which would be the Tribbles and the Tribble cards. And how this all works is, you have the doorway, storage compartment door. Place atop Tribble side deck during the seed phase. Side deck is now open and in play. Once each turn, you may draw up to 3 cards from side deck, then play or discard each. Or, stock in deck and play once each turn to download from your Tribble side deck 1 Tribble or Tribble card, or to nullify any card that is closing another storage compartment door, then discard the doorway. So this card has a couple uses. It helps you bring out your side deck, or you can download the cards and use them as you see fit. How it works is the Tribble cards, one multiple of card will breed another. So for example, the base card you're going to bring out is 1 Tribble. That in turn breeds 10 Tribbles, which in turn breeds 100, which in turn breeds 1,000, and so on. It actually goes up a lot higher than that. The Tribble cards do different things depending on where the Tribbles are placed. So for example, Tribble in the engine room. If there's 100 Tribbles on a ship, reduces weapons and range by 1. If it's 1,000, the ship is stopped after each of its moves unless 3 engineer aboard. At an ore processing unit, suspends process ore. So they do, I guess you could call it damage and reverse attributes to ships and certain aspects of your ships. A Tribble side deck can be a lot of fun. Me and my friends at the time, we experimented with the Tribble side deck when the game first came out, and because you can have an unlimited number of cards in the Tribble side deck, providing they're from one of these 2 groups, we experimented where one of us would have 16 cards, one of us had 32, and one of us had 64. Don't ask me why we came up with those multiples. It seemed like a good idea at the time. The problem with the Tribble side deck, and no offense to the doorway because it has nothing to do with the problems of the side deck itself, if you're playing with a small Tribble side deck, it doesn't really hurt the gameplay too much. But the more cards you have in your Tribble side deck, the more it slows the game down and gets away from the core game. So basically, you're playing a game of Star Trek customizable card game, and the Tribble side deck takes on a life of its own, and it drastically reduces the time of gameplay because you begin to focus on just doing Tribble stuff to your opponent. And if you're like me, and I've mentioned this on previous episodes, especially where Blaze of Glory is concerned and the Battle Bridge side deck, I hate things that slow down the game. Unfortunately, the Tribble side deck does slow down the game, and it all comes down to how many cards are in your deck. So if you are going to use a Tribble side deck and bring it out, please keep the number of cards low. The more cards you have in there, you're just going to piss off your opponent. And this did happen when my friends and I tested it. The 32 card side deck was a bit of a pain, but the guy who had the 64 card side deck, I believe Josh was testing that at the time, that was horrendous pain. We added an extra 40 minutes to the game. I'm not even joking. I do, however, suggest that you experiment with the Tribble side deck if you haven't already, providing you keep the number of cards in the deck very low. Stock 3 or 4 of the doorways, 1 for seeding, the rest for your hand. I would suggest between 16 and 24 cards max for the Tribble side deck, otherwise it's going to be painful like I mentioned. And get yourself a copy of the Tribble with Tribbles rules as well. They come in very handy in regards to the Tribble side deck. Now, that all being said, please don't get me wrong and think I'm trashing the Tribble side deck. I am not. It can be fun, but it really slows down the game if that damn side deck is too big. Remember what I told you about the Blaze of Glory side deck with all the tactic cards that can be shoved in there? That's even more painful because of all the different things you have to do with the tactic cards. Even though the Tribbles side deck is more streamlined with only the 2 types of cards, and it's pretty easy to see what they do, it can bog down the game so badly. You just want to put your face into a table and say, oh, when is it going to be over? Oh my gosh. So keep that in mind if you're going to experiment with this deck. Keep the cards low in that side deck. That's all for today. Have a great day, everybody.